A pretty busy day. They woke up about 3 hours ago and performed some medical checks. And then they finished up their meal and the doors are opening up. This is the first shot of our Inspiration4 crew members walking out of Hangar X.
This is amazing. There they are, our first all-civilian crew walking out of Hangar X. They look so excited. Right now they're walking down this pathway, waving hi to family and friends. Some SpaceX employees in the crowd as well.
Yes, this must be such an exciting and emotional time for them.
And the crew that you see there on your left-hand side, that was Chris Simbrowski. He is the mission specialist. To his right is Dr. Cyan Proctor, the pilot for this mission.
And to her, to the right of that is Jared Isaacman, the mission commander. And Jared is blocking Hayley, but she's in the background there. That is the medical officer, Hayley Arceneaux.
What a sight to see. They look so excited. And this is just the beginning of the day for them. They're getting ready to get into the Teslas. You can see one of them there, where they will ride to the Falcon Support Building, which is where the SpaceX suit-up room is. And currently they're at Hangar X. You may be wondering what Hangar X is. This is our brand new facility at SpaceX, designed and built by SpaceX to house our refurbished vehicles.
So some of them are hopping into the car. In the first car, we have Dr. Cyan Proctor with Hayley, and following them will be Jared and Chris. You can see the gull-wing doors of the Model X's closing there. And they should be, again, making their way to the...
After they make it to the Falcon Support Building to drive to the launch pad. And there they are pulling off from Hangar X, now on their way to the Falcon Support Building, to our new SpaceX suit-up room.
Yes, there's a third Tesla there. That is support staff members of the closeout crew to support the astronauts in any way possible. So again, in the first car, we have Hayley and Dr. Cyan Proctor. And in the second car, we have Chris and Jared. This is the first time that we get to see inside of the Teslas. This is so exciting.
Oh, this is amazing. This is such an amazing view. It almost feels like we get to ride with them in the car.
Chris looking very cool with his sunglasses.
I love it. With our first all-civilian crew. Jared Isaacman is the Inspiration4 commander. He is the 38-year-old founder and chief executive officer of Shift4 Payments. He is a father, husband, and accomplished world record-holding pilot. Jared has flown in over 100 air shows, dedicating every performance flight to charitable causes, and today's flight is no different. Inspiration4, in recognition of the four-person crew's fire support for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. As a part of Inspiration4's public outreach, Isaacman made a personal $100 million commitment to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. He's hoping to raise upward of $200 million to support the nonprofit with this mission. Today's flight would not be possible without Jared's philanthropic dedication. Here's more about the New Jersey native and self-described aviation and aerospace fan.
Arceneaux of Memphis, Tennessee is the medical officer of the Inspiration4 mission, overseeing medical care and experiments. She's a 29-year-old physician's assistant at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, the same place that saved her life after being diagnosed with bone cancer at the age of 10. Hayley's treatment at St. Jude included chemotherapy and limb-sparing surgery that resulted in removing most of her femur bone and replacing it with a prosthetic. She represents a couple of firsts for this mission that's already going to be the first civilian mission going into space. Hayley will be the youngest American to go into space and the first person to go into space with a prosthetic body part. Here's more on Hayley, who occupies the seat of hope on the Inspiration4 mission.
Chris Simbrowski of Seattle, Washington is the mission specialist of today's flight, helping to manage payload, science experiments, and communications to mission control. He is a 42-year-old mechanical and diagnostics lead at Lockheed Martin and a United States Air Force veteran. As an amateur astronomer, he grew up with a natural curiosity about outer space and even worked as a U.S. space camp counselor. He was awarded the Seat of Generosity after contributing to a special fundraising campaign for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Let's meet Chris, the Inspiration4 mission specialist.
Cyan Proctor of Tempe, Arizona is the pilot on board today's flight. She's a 51-year-old entrepreneur, educator, trained pilot, and active voice in the space exploration community. Her motto is Space to Inspire, and she encourages people to use their unique, one-of-a-kind strengths and passions to inspire others. She uses her space to inspire art to encourage conversations about creating a Jedi space, a just, equitable, diverse, and inclusive space for all of humanity. Dr. Cyan was awarded the Seat of Prosperity after being selected as the top entrant of an independently judged online business competition conducted by the Shift4 Shop e-commerce platform. Let's meet Dr. Proctor, the Inspiration4 pilot. Just a few days after this mission completes, we'll have the 5th and final episode, so it's almost like we get to experience what they experience real time.
Yeah, I love that part of the docu-series. It's like you get to see the before. We're going to see launch today, and then we'll get a little bit of a recap afterwards. And it looks like on your screen, those Teslas are pulling up to the Falcon Support Building. This is the building that has our new SpaceX suit-up room. So the crew, once they park here, will get out shortly.
Yeah, if you've been following along on previous missions, specifically with NASA astronauts, things look a little bit different today. Typically, we suit up in the astronauts will suit up in the Neil Armstrong Operations and Checkout Facility, also known as the ONC facility. That is located a little bit closer to Hangar X, where we saw the crew walk out. For today's mission, the crew will be suiting up in the Falcon Support Building, which is actually located fairly close to the launch pad 39A.
There's the crew making their way inside of the Falcon Support Building. And again, just as Andy mentioned, today is not a NASA mission. This is a mission for Inspiration4 with SpaceX. So we now have our own facilities, our own suit-up room that we'll be utilizing today, which they are currently. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Very excited to see that. And we've got an inside look into the SpaceX suit-up room once again, and we have the full crew there, and that is Hayley Arceneaux on your screen. She is the medical officer on this mission for today.
And Chris, I think he's thinking he has a lightsaber in his hand. They're having a blast. Next, right behind Hayley is Dr. Cyan Proctor, and talking to her is Chris Simbrowski. Again, Dr. Cyan Proctor is the pilot for the mission, and Chris Simbrowski is the mission specialist.
Once again, this is the SpaceX suit-up room located in what you hear us refer to as FSB, or Falcon Support Building, which is a building located just outside of the perimeter of pad 39A. This is our new suit-up room, and while it might look like you're watching a black and white movie, it is in full color there. We can see that everything is, like we mentioned before, super streamlined, super clean, and wow, those spacesuits really stand out. They look so great.
For the very first time, and here's what they had to say. It's made for the spacesuits. Actually, they can hook up their umbilicals to the Teslas, and there is the Inspiration4 crew walking out of the SpaceX suit-up room, looking very excited.
Some fist bumps going around.
And their suit tech crew is also going along with them. Looks like they're taking some final photos before they hop back into those Teslas.
So this is the first time that the crew has stepped outside today in their flight suits. They're now entering the Teslas. Love this new shot that we have for this launch. We are inside the Teslas there with the crew. And we've been told that they have a playlist. We unfortunately can't hear it for ourselves. But hopefully we'll be able to see them, singing along. I would love some space car karaoke.
Yeah. Hey, you never know. We might be able to see that on the camera there. And this looks like Jared Isaacman, the commander for Inspiration4, with Chris Simbrowski. Again, hooking up their umbilical ports to the Teslas. That'll keep them cool for this short ride to the launch pad.
Yeah, so the stuff that's going to be pumped through those umbilicals, while the umbilicals are used for communications, while actually in Dragon right now, those are being utilized to pump nitrox, which is basically the same air that you would breathe if you were scuba diving. It's that same nitrogen oxygen mixture, and we are pumping it through the spacesuits to make sure that they all stay cool and comfortable while they are in their suits. Closing.
CRL on recovery point.
Go ahead. Go ahead, water recovery.
A few minutes out. Yes, sir. Can you catch me?
Hey, yeah, copy. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to verify that we are about 31 minutes out from this balloon. We are going to turn it on, get a stat log, and then do 30 seconds on each decoder, stopping on decoder 3, and then we'll send the first balloon up, boys.
Affirm. That sounds good.
Okay, copy that. Thank you.
I'm also having the board.
This is also a launch pad where the last Apollo mission launched from, Apollo 17. It was after the Apollo program ended, it was then refurbished for the space shuttle program, and the majority of space shuttle missions departed Earth from this launch pad, including the final space shuttle mission, Atlantis STS-135, in 2011. In 2014, SpaceX signed the lease agreement with NASA for this launch pad, and we then began to make safety and functional upgrades. So what you see there is the base of what used to be the fixed service structure from the shuttle days. So everybody might recall that iconic pad from the shuttle days, near and dear to my heart personally. And we did have to remove the rotating service structure portion of the pad for safety, and also it was just unnecessary for Falcon 9. But the bones of the fixed service structure are still there. What we see here is a view of the elevator shaft, and this is the same elevator shaft used these astronauts getting their first look at Falcon 9 on launch day. There it is.
The famous lean back.
Must be breathtaking for them. You can almost see the size of how, we're close up on the crew right now, but how far they have to lean back to look at the top of the vehicle.
It's a shame they don't wander over and look at the business end of the Falcon 9. Kate, you're talking about the history of the pad. They built what's essentially a giant concrete structure on the Florida land back in the early 60s. And you've got about a 5% grade that we saw them drive uphill to get up to the crown there. Mm-hmm. But if you go over to where the Falcon 9 is, centered up above the flame bucket, that's about a 13-meter drop down to the bottom of the
orbit. And exiting the elevator is Chris Simbrowski, the mission specialist, with Jared Isaacman, the commander of the mission today.
And we mentioned a little bit about the closeout technicians and suit technicians. Again, they are there to support the astronauts, ingress, get buckled in. Before we close the side hatch, they'll be supporting with an interior foreign object debris checkout, and then also assist with the side hatch close.
Hugging as they're walking. Oh, they look so excited.
So these are essentially the last steps that they will take on planet Earth for the next 3 days. Obviously taking a moment to enjoy the view, smell the roses if there were any.
They're just absolutely excited and ecstatic.
Yeah, their excitement is radiating. It's making me very excited.
Yes,
we're getting very close. Again, just under 3 hours until liftoff. And some dancing.
Ooh. Hayley's getting very excited again. She's going to be the youngest American in space and the first with a prosthetic.
So what Hayley has just entered into now is what we call the White Room, and it's an environmentally controlled environmentally controlled room. It keeps out dust, dirt, humidity, bugs, of course, because it's Florida, and essentially keeps it environmentally stable for the crew. If you look just above Dr. Proctor's helmet there, you can see a seal. It's a black seal, and it basically seals in the room. That gets installed and compressed against the capsule to maintain the cleanliness of the spacecraft. And here we can see one of my favorite traditions for SpaceX crewed flights. They are adding their signatures to the wall of the White Room. So because this is the first orbital all-civilian mission, they're signing their names next to the X logo. For previous NASA crew missions, the NASA astronauts have signed their name there next to the NASA meatball to the left.
Yes, and all members of the crew will get an opportunity to sign. And if you are wondering, this is penciled into part of their procedures to grab the Sharpie and sign the wall.
Yep, it's actually written in for the advanced team, which is the group of people that arrive to the pad prior to the crew, and they are the advanced team prepares the pad and everything in the White Room with all the tools necessary for closeout operations. And Sharpie is one of the tools listed in the procedure for the advanced team to ensure is there prior to the crew's arrival. So in selection and ultimately just giving the final go or no-go decision point for launch today, the splashdown weather in 3 days was also an important factor for consideration because that's part of the journey as opposed to missions to the International Space Station where the NASA astronauts are typically on board station for a couple of months. We don't have to worry about splashdown weather then because who knows. But at this point, because the astronauts are coming home in 3 days, we did have to do quite a bit of evaluation for those splashdown conditions prior to ultimately proceeding into what we see here today.
You can see on your screen that Dr. Cyan Proctor and Hayley Arceneaux have ingressed the vehicle. Again, ingress is just a aerospace word for entering. They're now working on getting strapped into their seats, and it looks like Jared and Chris are awaiting their turn to ingress Dragon.
And what we see there is the iPad that Dr. Proctor will use throughout flight, like we mentioned before. She is the pilot. And what we'll see shortly is the rotation of the seats. The seats will be rotated backwards so that the crew will almost be on their backs and allowing them better access to that touchscreen panel there that is above their heads.
Yeah, I think, Kate, when we do we've got the same camera angle we've seen before when we get seat rotation. Also gives you an idea of the cargo that's underneath that they'll be using during their 3-day orbits around the Earth. So they'll get access to that, be able to unpack it, get out the experiments, get out dinner, things like that.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the cargo beneath the crew in this vehicle right now, Dragon can carry up to 7 passengers. For today's mission, we only have 4 crew members, so it's only configured with 4 seats. So where the 3 additional seats are, we have replaced it with a stowage for cargo.
Which is super important for this mission because, like we said before, they're stuck inside Dragon the whole time. There's no getting out this time.
Yep.
Also, Jesse, you mentioned Hayley's got the window seat. Just to go back a little bit in history, Dragon from the very beginning was designed with a window seat. In fact, when they show shots of us here on the mezzanine, we've got the first recovered Dragon right behind us. And so we put windows in that, not because cargo needed a window to look out.
The block of cheese.
But the block of cheese on the second Falcon 9 Dragon flight that came back.
Checks.
Copy that. Stand by for umbilical comm check. Commander, pilot, MS1, MS2, comm check.
And Brooke has you loud and clear. How many?
Loud and clear as well.
Leo has you loud and clear. How me?
I have you loud and clear, Leo.
Nova has you loud and clear. How me?
Loud and clear, Nova.
Hanks has you loud and clear. Sarah, how me?
And Hanks, I have you loud and clear as well. Umbilical comm checks complete. Stand by for ground station comm checks.
SpaceX, try game. We're ready for seat rotation.
Copy that, Dragon. We will report when initiating.
We're T-minus 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 12 seconds, counting down for what is planned to be an on-time launch. T0 tonight is 8 hours, 2 minutes, 56 seconds p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, or just about 3 minutes after midnight Universal Time. You can see everybody peering at it, making sure it seems look good, and then we'll wait to start a clock and see that the hatch closure is good. And at the same time, listen to the crew eventually talk to Falcon 9 launch team. As we go past liftoff, you will hear call-outs. Falcon 9 avionics, guidance navigation and control engineer, propulsion engineer will be reading out status, and that'll be actually going from the firing room 4 up to the crew to let them know that things are looking good. So we're going to do a comm check to make sure all of those engineers can also talk to the crew and that each other can hear. Meanwhile, as we wait for comm checks and confirmations that the side hatch closure is checked out, successful, in the area we've got Falcon 9 team is clearing the flight hazard and the flight caution area, T-minus 2 hours. These are larger areas around the Complex 39A. So roadblocks are down.
Dragon SpaceX, we are commencing health checks for the launch escape system. Expect a momentary flight computer change, followed by a transition back to pad hatch closed.
There you've heard the instructions and a great view from the camera on the fixed service structure looking down the crew arm. SpaceX team has been pulled. The 7 operators on Falcon 9 in firing room 4 at Kennedy Space Center have indicated they are go for propellant load of the Falcon 9 and launch. The crew is given a go. The Dragon team's given a go. We're moving into the next of the major steps, retracting the crew access arm. This will take a couple of minutes. We're going to follow that by arming the launch escape system, and then at T-minus 35 minutes, begin propellant load of the Falcon 9. And sharing in the background here at Hawthorne, keep watching the arm moving away as we get deeper into the countdown. Weather continues to be good for Falcon 9 launch. Range is ready to support. All systems remain green and go. Arm continuing to move away. Once it's in position, we ought to hear the instructions to the crew to close and lock their visors, and then arm the escape system on the Dragon spacecraft.
The countdown clock is continuing to tick, and we are now at T-minus 42 minutes from launch. We're standing by the crew arm. The crew access arm has retracted, and that is one of the last major visual milestones that we'll see in preparation for liftoff, and it's slowly moving back here. Should conclude shortly. And shortly thereafter, once the crew arm has been retracted, we should hear the call out that the launch escape system is armed. And from there, we'll hear that Falcon 9 prop load has started.
We saw our Inspiration4 crew members suit up about 3 hours ago in our brand new suit up room located in the Falcon support building.
Crew access arm retraction complete. Dragon has transitioned to configure for terminal count.
Falcon 9 tanks are pressurizing for strong back retract.
Everything continuing to go on schedule. We're beginning to pressurize the tanks. That'll help stiffen the second stage up as the 2 hydraulic clamp arms will open up coming up here very shortly.
Strong back is lowering.
As you can see on the timeline there, at the bottom of your screen, the strong back retraction is the next major event. In fact, the last physical event or modification to the pad prior to liftoff. Falcon 9 is nearly fully loaded with almost 1 million pounds of liquid kerosene and liquid oxygen. And that liquid oxygen is what we see venting there, those white clouds. All right, and there on your screen, you can see that the strong back is beginning to retract.
And Kate, that strong back will move back just.
FPS is on. Falcon 9 is in startup. Dragon is in countdown.
You can hear the cheers. We're inside 1 minute.
Go for launch.
Inspiration4 is go for launch. Punch it, SpaceX.
Commander calling
T-minus 30
down.
seconds.
Punch it, SpaceX.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff. Perfect use. Go Dragon. Go Falcon. Godspeed Inspiration4.
Copy, 1 Alpha.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T plus 30 seconds. Callouts indicate nominal. Historic mission flying the Inspiration4 crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9. Great deal of the crew in the capsule. We're into the throttle down, into the throttle bucket.
Stage 1 throttle down.
Throttling down in preparation for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. A minute into flight.
Falcon 9 is supersonic. Max
Stage 1, throttle up.
We're through the period of maximum dynamic pressure.
Copy,
We're
1
throttled
Bravo.
back up, and 1 Bravo, the call out from space. That's one of the abort sequences. That is a nominal call. Everything continues to be good. It's the second stage engine nozzle, and then ignition of the second stage.
And Miko.
Stage separation confirmed.
And ignition.
There we heard the call, and you can see on your screen there on the right-hand side that the second stage has ignited. That's the MVAC engine. I'm sure the crew felt another kick in the G's there as it ignited. Officially, the Inspiration4 crew are now on their way to space.
They're going to get there a lot faster.
Stage 2, FTS is saved.
Right now.
So what you're seeing on screen on the left-hand side is the entry burns, the first of 2 burns on the first stage. Again, this first stage has already separated from the second stage. So the first stage is making its way back to Earth, trying to land, and the second stage, everything is going well. It is headed into orbit with the crew on board.
Actually, there on your screen, you can see a sunrise horizon there with planet Earth just behind the glowing MVAC engine.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Call out stage 2 and terminal guidance. We're at the altitude. We're working the angular momentum we need to get into the right orbit. And if you're wondering, crew's pulling about 3.5 Gs right now, less than it took on the first stage flight.
So in about 15 seconds, we are expecting
Copy, Shannon.
We are expecting
throttle down.
The MVAC to throttle down and cut off in an event called second engine cutoff, and then we'll wait for the confirmation of good orbit. At the same time, the first stage will be beginning its landing burn. And here we have the MVAC. We just saw that it shut off its engine.
Stage 1, landing burn started.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
All right, good news there. Nominal orbit insertion. That's amazing news for Inspiration4 crew.
Copy that, Jackson. Show the field. On behalf of the crew of Inspiration4, we just want to thank everyone back at home for making this mission possible. We were just carried right to the doorstep of an exciting and unexplored frontier. A few have come before, and many are about to follow. The door's opening now, and it's pretty incredible.
Stage 1, landing is confirmed.
Dragon SpaceX, launch escape system is disarmed.
And you can hear the excitement behind me. We just heard from Jared thanking everyone for making this mission possible. The Dragon capsule and crew are in a nominal orbit. In a few minutes here, we'll begin opening that. In a few minutes here, we'll separate from the second stage, and then shortly after that, we'll begin opening that nose cone.
Lifted off from pad 39A. They are now in orbit around Earth, and there you can see on your screen.
Dragon separation confirmed.
So that is the Dragon trunk.
Dragon on the way to the Falcon 9 team. We gave you a great ride to orbit. Enjoy your time on orbit, and we look forward to you flying again with SpaceX.
And copy that, Garrus. We really appreciate everyone's help back in LCC.
And copy that, SpaceX. Welcome, everybody, to Crew Dragon Resilience. We're cruising right now at 580 kilometers above the Earth, going about 7.6 kilometers per second. So we're really booking. We're seeing the world every 90 minutes. That's how fast we're traveling around it. It's pretty incredible. So we're excited you're here to join us today. We're going to introduce the crew of Inspiration4, and then we're going to show you around some of the cool aspects about this spacecraft we're on right now. So pass.
Hey everyone,
I'm Chris Dombrowski. I'm the mission specialist here, and we've been doing a lot of great things here, like looking out the window at Earth, just like we're going to show you through the cupola in a moment. And I hope we get to share other cool things like some of the medical experiments and some of the more human side of things that we've brought up here in space with us today. So pass it on over.
Hi everyone, I'm Cyan Proctor and I am the mission pilot, and I hope to show you some of the art that I've been doing in a little bit.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us here on Crew Dragon. My name is Hayley Arceneaux. I'm the medical officer of the mission, and excited to show you about the research that we've been doing, as well as how much fun it is to be in microgravity.
All right, so with that, what we'd like to start off, because we think the views will be pretty incredible, is we want to take you up into the cupola so you can see the largest continuous window ever flown in space and the views that it affords. And while we're getting our forward hatch open right here for this big reveal, we just want to thank everyone back at home who's been contributing to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital as part of this YouTube channel right now. So a big part of our mission here at Inspiration4 is to inspire what can be done here in space, because there's an awful lot of it, and we got to get out and explore it, but also what our responsibilities that we need to take care of back on Earth. And top on our list right now is conquering childhood cancer, and that's why we're supporting St. Jude.
Hi everyone. Unfortunately, we've just gone into darkness, but you can see right above us, over there, hopefully you're getting a good view of that, the night lights. And so every time we go into darkness, we get this amazing view. Oh, that looks like the aurora. Oh, wow. We have an aurora event. It looks like off to our right. I hope you guys can see that. We are currently over Europe.
And we have been spending so much time in this cupola. We can put our head, this is the largest window ever flown in space. We can put our head in and fit multiple crew members and see the entire perimeter of the Earth, which just gives such incredible perspective, and the views, I have to say, are out of this world.
So while we're getting some goodies out to show you here, some of the equipment we brought on board, maybe we can show you about some of the science we've been doing here. So Nova here is showing off our portable ultrasound, which we've been able to use for a number of different experiments, including intrajugular, also measuring our cornea and optic nerve for indications on intracranial pressure. And we also do a couple other scans with it as well that are quite useful.
It's been really interesting to see how fluid shifts with this microgravity environment, and that's something that scientists are looking at. And so we are happy to contribute with that. We've also been taking several swabs of different parts of our body to evaluate the microbiome and how that changes in these 3 days in space. We've also been giving a bunch of samples, blood samples, for the research teams, and as well as doing cognitive tests.
Hey everyone, I have really enjoyed learning how to use markers in space, and so I've got these metallic markers right here, and last night I drew this. Hold on just a second. So there's my rendition, my art of the Dragon capsule being carried by a dragon off of Earth.
Hi, everyone. So another thing that we've been doing on this whole mission, just like Sai showed off, is because we're trying to open the frontier for more people and open up space to more humans, we're going to be bringing more of our humanities with us. And so, along with art and music, and so we have this custom ukulele that was made. It's got our I4 patch there, and it's right there inlaid on the fretboard. So it's been a lot of fun getting some practice on some music while we're floating around the Earth. So I can play a little for you, but you know, you can turn your volume down if you wish, but I'll give it a shot. And it's still before coffee. It's still before coffee, so you know, it'll get better as the day goes on.
So one of the most fun parts of being in space is microgravity, or this lack of gravity that has enabled us to do all kinds of cool flips and spins. I shall demonstrate a few, if I can not run into too many walls.
Hayley is a champ at spinning. She's been spinning from the moment we got on orbit.
I have to say it's a lot of fun and enables us to lift really heavy things without any issue.
So on that note, while we're in microgravity, we want to show you our zero-G indicator, which is, it's got a lot of history in spaceflight. It's the first thing that kind of gets released when engines cut off and you make it into orbit. And we picked a very special zero-G indicator for Inspiration4. So Nova's retrieving it right now, and she's going to tell you a little bit about it and why it's so important to our mission.
So this was the first thing that we got to throw out whenever we made it to space to show that we really were in a zero gravity environment. And this little guy, who's very cute, he represents the St. Jude therapy dog. So St. Jude has a couple of different golden retriever dogs that are able to sit with the kids when they're scared. They climb up in bed with the kids, and they'll even go through the MRI machine or the CAT scan machine before the kids do to show them that it's not so scary. And so we wanted to bring one of these really sweet dogs to space. But what's really cool is these dogs are on sale, and all the money from the sales of our zero-G indicators are going to go to St. Jude. And, I mean, we have to show off some more zero gravity. Look how the water spins through this bottle.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in today and checking in with us on Inspiration4. So we're really proud to share this experience with everyone. We know how fortunate we are to be up here. We're giving all of our time right now to science research and some ukulele playing, and trying to raise some good awareness for an important cause for us back on Earth. But appreciate you joining in with us, and we'll see you soon.